You're listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.
Static. Now I'm going to mute these two because they don't have mics. Watch, listen.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Right? That's pretty neat.
Oh, I fell in love already. I want one, Danny.
We'll get you one. We'll get her one.
Okay.
Tia Gracie,
What's up, boy?
how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for coming to see me. I've been wanting to get you on the podcast, and the other day you said, hey, how come I'm not on your podcast?
I had to initiate that.
Well, I was a little worried you wouldn't want to do it.
I would say things that would get you kicked out of...
No, because sometimes things like that get said, but the FBI might show up before we finish.
That's
That's a possibility.
That's true.
So I was very interested to find out a little bit about you, things that we don't know. I married into the beautiful family Cortez, Brown Cortez, 13 years ago. But there's just so much about you guys that I don't know. So I'd love to hear a little bit about you. Tell me a little bit about your back history growing up.
I don't know a lot about my history either.
No?
In fact, who am I?
Well, that's what we're here to find out.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in a conservative Catholic family. My dad was a cop. In fact, all my family members, just about all of them are cops. And even I have a degree in criminal justice, so watch it out there. Anyhow, so...
So your dad was
a police officer, yes. And
in
then
San Benito?
In San Benito, Texas.
Was that his
Go
whole
Greyhounds.
career? His whole career?
Yeah, about 32 years.
Wow.
Well, before that, his family was naturalized came from Mexico during the, I think it was during the time frame when all the Catholics and, that movie Cristianos?
You know what? I don't know the story perfectly, but there was a time when they were kind of persecuting Christians, right?
They were, and they were killing priests, Catholics in particular.
Who was doing that?
The president, he was a socialist communist type.
I see.
For Mexico.
And so that's how your grandparents came over?
Yeah, because they were all, Catholics were being persecuted. And so they came over, and they were business people, they were wealthy, and they entrepreneurs, and they did business. They had a meat market, fish market type. And then my dad turned it into a bar, but when he became a police officer, he had to give it up.
I see.
So to one of the other family members. Anywho, so he became the first Mexican-American police chief in San Benito.
Oh, wow.
And so,
how old were you when that happened?
Oh, boy, I was still in high school.
Okay.
I was still in high school.
Did you understand how big of an opportunity that was for him?
Yeah. Because I couldn't do anything in public. I couldn't smoke. I couldn't neck. I couldn't date. Well, I could date, but
funny story. When I was in high school, my dad worked for the city. Same problem. If we skipped school, if we were riding around, he was always riding around in his truck.
Yeah.
So he'd point at us and point to the school, so we'd have to go back to school.
Yeah.
So same problem, only he was...
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I was driving around with no driver's license at about 16. And DPS stopped me. And I told him my name, and he said, "Are you Pat's daughter?" And I go, "Yes, sir." And I want you to go. I had driven my mother to bingo. See, bingo?
Oh, so it was her fault. It was her fault.
It was her fault. 16. Contributing to a minor, my God. Anywho, so what happened was he said, "Go home, straight home." So I went straight home. Somebody had to pick up my mother. She was probably wondering what
Who ended up getting her? Are you the oldest sister?
No, Linda.
Linda's the oldest? Okay.
Yeah. Grew up of 8 brothers and 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
What are all their names in order from oldest to youngest?
Homer, who was a football player and a very smart young man.
Was he law enforcement too?
He was law enforcement, yeah. And he passed away a long time ago. And then there's Linda, and she still lives in San Benito. And she worked for a law enforcement agency down in the airport security. And then there's...
she gives really good hugs.
Oh, yeah. And she's a very good gourmet
Oh, really?
cook or chef. Or
I'll need
I
her
call her.
I'll need her to prove it.
Oh, yeah. Anything you want, she can make for you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Just tell her. If she doesn't know what it is, she'll look it up.
Okay. I have to remember that next time we go down there.
And
Tia
then
Linda.
there's Eleazar, who was also a cop. And then there was Charlie, who was also a cop. And then there was me, who decided not to become a cop. And then there was your mother-in-law, Lupita. And she just was a very good soul. And then there's Junior, and then there's Norma, who retired Border Patrol and now works in Mexico City for the government, not the Mexican government,
The U.S. government.
the U.S. government. So, anywho, I joined the Army after high school.
Okay. What that was was it the WAC
Yes, it was one of the last
What was the WAC exactly?
Women's Army Corps.
Okay.
And then they decided to say, no more Women's Army Corps. It's all integrated into the Army. So that was 3 years, but it was like a summer camp. And I swore I never would become. Well, after that, I guess I liked the abuse because I joined the Marines. And
that's one thing that I always found interesting was when I was dating Nina. She says, my Tia Gracie was in the Army, and then she left the Army and went into the Marines. And at first I didn't believe her. And then I met you and I said, oh yeah, she definitely went to the Marines. So what was that transition like for you? Because that was different for women back then.
Well, when I joined the Army with my sister, your mother-in-law, Lupita, but I had...
what was she thinking joining the Army?
Well,
she doesn't strike me as Army type.
Here's the thing. She wasn't thinking. She wanted to go to nursing school. So, and what happened was I was already set to go in, but I had an appendicitis attack right after Thanksgiving. I remember eating Thanksgiving and then laying on the floor and just in pain.
Yeah.
So I think about 17, and I was 8.
You were young.
Yeah, but I had joined the delay program thing. And so I was going to join the Army, and what I told Lou was, go tell the recruiter I'm in the hospital. So she went to go tell him, and they got here. They recruited her.
That's hilarious. I would have loved to have seen that because, Lupita at the age that I met her was very fun.
Oh, yes, she was.
And I couldn't imagine how she was as a kid. But... that's funny that she went to go tell them that you were out, and they brought her in.
Well, as you can tell, she was very easily influenced.
Yeah.
But anywho, because I always wanted to join the military, and so
what made you want to join the military? Was it?
Since I was in the 3rd grade when I told my teacher, and she laughed and said,
"Really, that young?
No, you don't." Yeah, and maybe because my dad was in the police force, maybe, but and I remember the old stereotype that if you join the military, a woman that you're a lesbian. And so that's not right. Although there were some.
Sure.
There were some of
There's a whole bunch of them outside the military. Yeah.
But they didn't say anything. And so we joined together and we went through boot camp and everything, and nobody said anything. So okay.
So what, you ended up, since she went and enlisted, you went ahead and...
Yeah, we were both enlisted.
Gotcha.
She went to Georgia and met her, and then Okinawa, and I went to Germany, and met this piece of crap that I married. But anyway, that's a long other story, which I won't go into. And and then I went and.
How long were you in Germany for?
3 years.
Okay.
And then I went and did a stupid thing, and which I don't regret anymore. But at the time, I said, "What the hell?" I joined the Marines.
Yeah. What made you do that? What was the thought process there?
Stupidity.
Okay.
I was mad because the Air Force had told me I could go in as an officer. I had gone to college under the GI Bill, and I was going to go back in, but as an officer to the Air Force, because I was going to want to be in the Army, in the Air Force security. So I was, get my degree, criminal justice, go in, and they told me, sure, no problem. And then they said, well, we closed it.
And you were getting out of the Army because they were closing WAC.
No, I did do 3 years of Army time. I went in under the GI Bill and went to college and everything.
What did you study?
Criminal justice.
Criminal justice, that's right. You did tell me that.
Yeah, and I was pissed, and I told them to go to hell, and I was walking past never do anything when you're mad. Well,
Was this where you learned that the first time, or had you done it before?
Join the Marines?
Made decisions when you were mad?
No, that was the very first time that I had been so pissed that I was walking through I've gotten pissed before, but not
But this is a
to the
life-changing...
point. Yeah,
These are life decisions.
Yeah, so walking past the Marines and said, well, let me see what they got.
You know what I'm thinking now that you're telling me this? This is why they put them in the same building. So when you get mad at one, you just walk down.
Hey, I never thought of that.
That's pretty smart.
True. But yeah, you're right. You're a genius. I love you.
Say that again.
You're a genius. You hear that, Lou? Nina?
She looks just like Lou now, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. Anyway, and they had legal. So, okay, legal. So I became like a paralegal.
Okay.
And they also went to school, very good school too. It was a civilian school for
Where were you stationed in the
drug
Marines?
and alcohol.
Oh.
So.
But where were you at this point, station wise?
I went to Headquarters Marine Corps, which was in Arlington, Virginia, which is down the hill from the Pentagon. In fact, I worked for a little bit in the Pentagon area, in Joint Chiefs, and just temporary. And then went back to Headquarters Marine Corps, and I was in the career department, where they assign different specialties, job specialties. Okay. And then I went into the legal field. I didn't go straight into the legal field, but from there I went to Naples, Italy, Marine Barracks, and that's where I met my husband. It's probably some people are thinking, well, damn, she joined the military just to get her husband. Well, no, I didn't.
It just worked out
They
that way.
met me.
So
How about that?
So Danny was in Uncle Danny was in Italy then.
Yes,
Okay.
Marine Barracks.
Okay.
Marine Barracks. And so from there,
What attracted you to Uncle Danny initially?
it didn't. It never dawned on me.
Was he a knockout? Was he built? Was he ripped?
It's it's right there, isn't it? He was a good-looking young man, because he was only 26 and I was already 30.
Oh, okay.
So I was surrounded by 18-year-olds. See, and
So he was pretty mature then.
I wouldn't say pretty mature. I would say a little mature. Yeah.
Okay.
But he was older.
Yeah.
But no, I didn't seek these people out, and or him out. He sought me out. Okay, and because I wasn't looking, I had already been in the Army. I had been divorced. I was I had gotten my degree. I was a worldly woman,
Traveling and working on your career.
Well-rounded, let's say that. And no, Danny was from Guam, so he was an island boy. So, well, it just so happens that he won me over, and he didn't give me a Cupid doll or anything. He gave me a baby. So. My oldest, but so anyway, we were married there in Italy, and then we were stationed like in California. I went to Okinawa, and then back to California. Camp Pendleton is a very big base, so you can travel anywhere to a different unit right there.
Gotcha.
Camp Pendleton. So, from there, we
Starting your family.
started a family, and we went back to camp. We were back to Camp Pendleton. A lot of us sometimes have crosses to bear, and my cross was that I had gotten breast cancer.
How old were you?
44. I was an older mother.
Okay.
And my kids were young. And they were...
By now you'd had all three?
Yeah. And so I sat down when I learned... The doctor that told me did not have a very good bedside manner. And when he told me, I was by myself because Danny was taking care of the kids in the car. So I went and I told him, but it still wasn't resonating. It was like, with the kids, and I told Danny, but it's just something that happened.
Well, I'm going to imagine that there's a lot of hecticness in being a mother and a father and being a young family and having three babies and being in the military and all the traveling.
Well, I was already out of the military at that point.
Danny was still
it
in?
did get hard with 3 kids and 2 Marines.
Yeah.
So and the middle child needed more attention because he had a learning disability, but he's fine now.
Yeah.
So
then you add breast cancer in the mix, and it's almost, I'd imagine initially it's kind of something that it's a shock, but at the same time there's a lot of other things going on right now.
Right, and then but that time where I was by myself, and it hit me, and I was in my living room, and it hit me, and I said, God, is this all there is? Am I going to die and leave my kids by themselves and my husband? And, my mom had given me some prayer books, and she had given me one in particular from a whether you believe in saints or not, it's your prerogative. But this particular Saint Faustina of the Divine Mercy, the booklet opened to her, and she said, no. Pretty much when I saw her, I knew she was telling me, no, this is not all there is. You need to have some trust in God and some faith. that he'll get you through. Well, he didn't give you 3 kids just to leave them.
Yeah.
So, and prayer. So that saint got me through this breast cancer, and it was a very successful protocol that I went through. The chemo, it was a first time chemotherapy that they were employing. And I was very lucky that I went to the naval base in San Diego, and they had slots open for that particular breast cancer that I had. And it was very successful. Within 3 years, they closed the study, and they said, this works. And I was cancer-free for about 22 years. And let me drink some water.
Sure. So let me ask you this. When you're experiencing this and looking at the booklet that your mother had given you,
yeah,
I'd imagine, similar to maybe a lot of us, there is a point where we're kind of always brought up with the Christian faith or Catholic faith,
yeah.
But we don't really lean on it or utilize it like we should, or I guess get involved the way we should till we get a little bit older. My parents were the same way. They were constantly pushing. And, we're young, we're stupid. We think we're invincible and no big deal. So to you, was this your first time, I guess, truly feeling that faith that, I guess, really getting involved in your faith, or was it always something that you did?
No, it was always something with me. In fact, when I was in my 20s, after still not having divorced my first husband, then it was something that the good Lord through His Holy Spirit. The Catholics are against divorce and abortion, but under certain circumstances, abuse, physical abuse,
Sure.
Children being abused. But the thing is that this man that I married was a habitual liar, and he was in Germany, and I'm pretty sure he was about to go in the brig for stealing some equipment. And I was in Texas with my mother, and I was going to school, and so he wanted me to go to Germany, and I was thinking, well, should I not go? Should I not go? And so I knelt before the good Lord and said, what do you think, God? Should I or should I not go? You tell me. I'm tired of this. And he said no. So I didn't go. And thank God. But that was the first experience that I had experienced with the Holy Spirit, or that spiritual connection. And I've always been spiritual, always. So I knew there was something there, and I knew that I had to do more than just sit on my pity pot about the breast cancer. And when that booklet opened, I said, aha, this is no coinkydink,
It felt like you had a weapon.
Yes.
To fight this cancer.
I did. Or some backup. Okay? And like I said, I was cancer-free for about 22 years. And then I guess the good Lord said, hey, the cross was a little cross. You need a bigger cross. You can handle it. You're a Marine. And so he gave me a bigger cross to carry. And I got diagnosed with anaplastic
What is
large
that?
cell lymphoma.
Mm.
Where the hell did that come from? I go,
Where was this in your breast again?
no.
Okay.
This is in the lymph nodes.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Okay.
And as a, you first turn, for me, it was
So, this is recent then.
2020.
That's right. I'm trying to follow along, and my math is all messed up. But you're okay.
Well,
I'm following.
I should have said 2020, but and so, you know what faith gets you and trust in God? Fierceness. It was like, I got cancer again. How about that?
It's time for another round of fighting, huh?
Yeah, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. Okay. That's one good thing I think the Marines brainwash you with. Okay, and that's you fight no matter what. You fight until you hear God said, "Okay, that's enough. Come on. You can be my sentry, my guard." Okay, so. So
let me just to interject real quick. We'll get back to this.
Yeah.
One thing, and I told you this before. When Lupita was in hospice,
Yes.
there was a time where it was just me and Nina, and we're at the hospice house or whatever you call it. And Nina's sitting in there. She's holding her mom's hand.
Yeah.
And she's going through what you go through when you're losing a parent.
Yeah.
And I felt inadequate. I didn't know what to say, didn't know what to do. I think I did snap one picture because I knew that she would want it later on. And all I could do was just be there, right? But still, I felt inadequate. And it was just the two of us. And I never felt, we were probably, mid-30s, I guess? But I never felt more like a child. And I remember standing in the hallway, and I started praying to myself, asking God to help me help Nina in this time with her mom, help her mom. And it was dark, it was super quiet, and not a lot of people there. And so it literally felt like it was just two nurses, me, Nina, and Lupita in the place, even though I know there was more people.
Man.
And so after I prayed for that, it was the funniest thing. Because you came around the corner walking down the hallway with like 2 or 3 Bibles, and you had the most serious look on your face. And you were walking as if you were a soldier. And I remember seeing you coming down the hallway, and I started wanting to cry because I felt like God sent us who we needed. And I think that was the night that she passed. And you went in the room. I think Norma was there, I think maybe Ashley, and I think maybe one of Nina's sisters. And Nina told me later on that she was, I guess you were shaking. And so she reached to touch you, and you kind of waved her off and said, Holy Spirit's here. Mm-hmm. She's going to go tonight. She did. Mm-hmm. But it was something where it was like, that's when I knew that, that's when I knew that you carried something with you that was extremely strong and powerful. And it was your faith. That was my first experience with you, that where I realized that you were, it's something that everyone can carry, right?
Yes.
But I had never experienced that till I saw you carrying it with you. And it really kind of opened my eyes to what's possible and what the Lord does for you when you have faith in Him.
Yeah, but trust.
Yeah.
And just not be afraid to you live your life. You have your happiness, your ups and downs. You suffer, and then we go on to bigger and better things if we want it with Him. And that trust factor is very real. I know people say, well, if God is so caring, then why did He take her? Well, look at the soul. Look at the beautiful soul that Lou had in her. And she was a beautiful woman. She had a beautiful smile. She cared a lot about children. And you know, unfortunately, she was a liberal. No,
Very
I'm
unfortunately.
kidding. I'm kidding. But yeah, she was liberal.
I often tell Nina, I'm like,
But that's something that we joked about all the time. So God doesn't get mad when it comes. But it takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of work. It takes suffering. It just takes a lot of prayer.
and having that faith,
And the trust.
Yeah.
More so than faith, trust
trust.
that things will turn out. And it's where I get it from God. Not it doesn't come from within. That's why you have everything you have here, which is some great equipment here. It comes from God. Yeah, you work hard, but who gives you that ability to work hard?
Sure.
The good Lord. Who gives you the energy? The good Lord. Okay, vitamins help, or energy drinks might help, but no, it's not that. Just have trust that He'll get you through all that. Okay.
And so you end up getting your second diagnosis.
Yeah, 2020. I'm in remission right now. I'm still in remission, but this particular cancer is again a cancer. They say is very rare.
Yeah.
So the hell with their rareness, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, God tells me whether or not it's rare or not. The doctors can only know what they know. Yes, to the ability of God and to their skills and talents and healing hands, but that connection with God is like I said, He's got your back. I listen to Him more so than the docs. The docs can tell me what they want to tell me, but to me, it's just okay. Let's go for it.
And so you said you're in remission right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I've been in remission since last I want to say October, or even before in September time frame. It's funny because I was going to have a scan on this past Friday, and they called me in the morning and said, Ms. Quintanilla, unfortunately the machine is down. The scan machine, and I was going, and I knew something was going, because in the back of my head I said, something's going on here. And so not before the call, I'm not, the call came after, because I already knew there was, something's going to happen, I feel like something's happening. And so sure enough, they called me and the machine's down. Yeah. I said, okay, I'll pray for the machine. And
when you get a feeling like that, is it a feeling of nervousness, kind of like anxiety, or is it a feeling of relief, or what are you feeling?
I don't let it get to the point where it's anxiety, because then I'm defeating what I say. Then I don't believe in what I say, And so those are human feelings, okay? And so you've got to fight those.
Yeah.
It's a very normal feeling. But no, I felt like it wasn't going to happen, okay? And maybe God was telling me, I'm giving you more time because you need to pray more. I have to think that way.
I see what you're saying.
I have to think that way. Because if I think the other way, I'll go crazy.
And I think that's what a lot of people do. I think a lot of people go that negative route.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And it's easy to do that,
yeah.
Especially when you're going through a trial. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to go, well, God forgot about me, or God's not thinking about, or why did God do this? Mm-hmm. But it's interesting for you to say it that way. It's interesting to have that view of God just wanted me to prepare a little bit more.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
In case they say, okay, well, I see a lymph node here. And they've said it. I see a lymph node here that is lighting up a little bit. Oh, it's gone. the next scan, or you know, go get another colonoscopy. Doc, I just had one in January. Please don't let me go through another one because you got to drink that stupid drink they give
clear
you.
you out.
Oh my God! And
You can't just have a barbacoa taco or menudo.
no,
Does the same thing to
no,
me.
because well, it all comes out.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
It tastes better. You know, but it all comes out. I'm sorry, we're grossing out here.
They started off grossed out. If you turn them, I think the top will go on the top. And if you want, you don't even have to wear them if you don't want to, but it's up to you.
No,
You got a little big head. I got a big old head, so to me they fit right.
I like him. Like I told you, I feel like Dana Loesch, podcast host, you know, or Glenn Beck, or
And it sounds real clear too. Yeah. It sounds like Uncle Danny can't hear what we're talking about. But he actually can. Let me ask you. I've always wanted to ask this question of you, of Tia Norma, but I got you here, so I'll ask you. One thing that's happened recently to us is we lost my brother Eddie.
yeah,
And so I think Eddie was the hub of the wheel for us. You know, well, I might go a while without talking to my brother Joe or my sister Barbara or my brother Vidal, but we all talk to Eddie.
where was he in the?
He's the oldest.
Oh,
He was
okay.
the oldest. And so we all talk to Eddie. We may go a while without talking to each other, but everybody talked to Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think we still have a difficult time with having lost Eddie. And for somebody like you who's lost multiple siblings, what got you through those experiences? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know that I've found anything to get me through yet, because I don't think that I am. And granted, it's relatively soon. You know, I think it's going on 3 years now. But what was it like for you to work through those, or have you still not gotten over the loss of them?
Well, Eddie died suddenly,
Yes.
and to some in some regards, that doesn't help when they die suddenly because you weren't prepared,
Right.
as opposed to being prepared for a sibling. Went through the same thing with my older brother. He died suddenly in an automobile accident. That was very traumatic. My other brother, he had heart problems. Lou, she had cancer. And I knew eventually, the good Lord, you know, she says, God told me 14 more years. But she passed away at 7 years. And it's because God years are not your years. Yeah, 14 in our years, it's kind of, 7 in his. You know?
Yeah.
And so you start to get prepared. But we were very close. Lou and I were like twins, you know. She was only like 18 months younger than I was. And I was always protecting her. I was always, we were fighting. We were always fighting, but, you know, she was my little sister and we made up. And I always protected her. Always. And I was watching out for her. And with her, it's been a little difficult because Lou won't go. Lou is always here. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Lou is with God, but she's always here. You know how tremendous a presence she was.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing, you know. And maybe that was with Eddie, you know. But for you, because he died so suddenly, maybe you haven't had closure with him. Maybe it's something that you need to tell him everything you want to tell him. Write it down. Everything you wanted to tell him and you never got a chance to tell him. Because he died so suddenly, and he did. When you told me he had passed away, I go, oh my God, you know?
He getting me all watery-eyed.
Hey, no. Come on.
You know, there's a little bit of me. There's a little bit of me that almost doesn't want closure. I feel if I haven't closed it out, it's not over.
Okay.
And he's still somehow indirectly available to me.
Well,
and
that's
so,
good.
but there's a lot of pain that comes with that. There's a lot of weight that comes with that. You know, I want to be peaceful about it, but at the same time, it's difficult because it's almost like as long as I hurt a little bit, we're still connected. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sounds weird.
Yeah. But he may not want you to hurt.
Oh, I know it. He wants me hurting.
No. I mean, he can be there for you, but the hurt.
I'm glad we got these napkins.
Oh, well, see,
Good call, Tia.
I needed napkins.
Good call.
You know.
But
Think about it. Think about it. Write down everything you want to tell him that you never got a chance to tell him. And, okay, Eddie, talk to Eddie. Say, what do you want, Eddie? You want me still to hurt? Or you want prayer, Eddie? You want me to pray for you? You know, and that too. A lot of times they hang around because they need prayer.
yeah.
You know?
I don't know that Mama Pita
No,
needs prayer.
she doesn't. She's fine. She's fine. She's up in the choir. I mean, she had a beautiful voice.
Yeah.
Beautiful voice. Oh, my God. If I wake up from my sleep and I hear her, then I know I'm gone.
Yeah.
I am gone if I hear her voice, you know, singing.
She was very similar in Eddie, where their personalities were massive.
Very, very massive.
I didn't meet Uncle Patch. I didn't meet Uncle Homer.
Yeah.
But big personality in Mama Pita, you know, and similar to Eddie as well.
Yeah.
They sure liked attention.
Oh, yeah. It's true. That's true. And we miss him, of course. We miss him. And we miss that, the laughter with them, the fun that they were. But, you know, I still, you know, if I feel like dancing because I see her dancing, hey, let's go.
Yeah.
Or certain things that we both would say, you know, hey, Lou, remember this, remember that. It helps me, but I know that she is very much in God's hands.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
And it's fun. It doesn't hurt, but it's fun for me.
Yeah.
Okay? And, of course, and I always pray, though, for her and all my siblings and grandparents, because they do need prayer, whether we know it or not. Whether we believe it or not, they need prayer.
They need that continuous prayer. You know, I think even you talking about praying for your grandparents, you know, we tend to think, oh, the more time that goes by, the less connected, I guess, maybe we feel to some degree. But at the same time, that the prayer that you had for them at the initial loss of them doesn't go away over time. You know, that's still required. That's still needed. That's still, you know, I'm sure wanted and invited. So it's easy for us to, after a while, go, I haven't prayed for them in a month. I haven't prayed for them in a week or whatever it may be. You know, but to keep that connection, I think it's a special thing, too, because they feel us praying for them, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, they do. And if you're Catholic, you know, there is a level in the middle called purgatory, and that's where people are kind of like in limbo. They're not in hell. They're not in heaven. But it's kind of like even the good Lord had to cleanse himself before he entered the kingdom of his of our Father God, our Lord and Savior, or God. He had to just cleanse himself, and so he went through that fire in order to get to his Father. So in some regard, we need to also cleanse ourselves, because yes, you can pray for mercy and grace on your deathbed, and he'll forgive you. But it doesn't mean that you're going to go straight to him.
Yeah.
We still, I mean, it's something that I'm pretty sure we, from experiences, from what people say, and there's a hospice nurse who she is on video and on YouTube, and she tells you experiences she has with her patients about, it's very real, about people dying, and they see their siblings who are gone, or their mother and father who are gone, or angels. And some people will say, well, it's the medications that they are given. And the hospice nurse says, no, some of them don't have any medication, but they see they see these things, And so if you don't believe in the fact that there is another level, and I'm not talking about any other thing except for that there is eternity, not here, but with God, then what do you believe in? I mean, you're on your deathbed, and if you're agnostic or you don't believe in God, you're atheist, what do you believe in? You're going to die just saying, looking at the door or looking at the ceiling? You got to wonder where your life went.
There's a lot of to me, examples of the reality of that God exists. I've never been a person who didn't have faith in God, so I don't know what it's like to live without having that faith or believing of even just something greater than you.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very funny because I see stuff on YouTube and internet, whatever, and there's always that group of people that say, hey, he doesn't exist, or there's no God. Me and Nina, we never had kids, but there was a time where she was pregnant, and it was very interesting because I always believed in God, and maybe there were times that I feel like I had proof of it, but to hear a baby's heartbeat when there was nothing there before, that's proof.
Oh yeah.
It's an amazing sound. It's an amazing experience, and it was very humbling. It was similar to I always kind of use the ocean. When you need to find God, go to the ocean. It's this massive thing that's bigger than you, and the sound is there, and that's what this was. This tiny thing that had that sound, and it was powerful. And to me, when you need proof, there's things like that.
Yeah.
But there's times where I don't think I've ever questioned it, but sometimes I feel. And now that I'm going to say this, but it kind of makes me go, well, it was you, dummy. But there's times where I'm almost feeling hurt at times. But at the same time, it's like, well, those are tests too. Where's your faith? You got to keep having faith. So Yeah, just tough experiences. But like you said, there's things where I guess we're constantly tested, and when we're no longer being tested, that's when it's our time to go home, I guess.
Yeah, so right. But I have my younger brother who never had any children. The wife was an older wife, and she did get pregnant, but unfortunately it didn't go to fruition. And but he has this way with children. If anybody deserved to be a father, he did. And he's very lovable, and people, kids just gravitate toward him. And I know all my children love him, and he just has that aura about him that he's lovable. He's like a big teddy bear, and he loves children, but it just never happened for him. He adopted her. She's got nieces and nephews, so he adopted them. I mean, not legally,
not in a formal sense, but yeah. Oh yeah.
And she does have an adult son from an earlier marriage, but but that's the way it happened.
Yeah. Speaking of children, explain to me your experience now as being a grandma. I mean, I'd imagine Miriam was a rough one, trying to keep her in line. But now that you're a grandmother, are you enjoying that more than motherhood? Some people say that. I will tell you right now, my mom and my dad love their grandbabies way more than they love their kids.
Well, I always said, with my children growing up, I said I'd rather sit down and have a beer with them as adults than as kids, not have a beer with them.
Well, they don't drink as much when they're kids.
No, that's what I'm saying. Not as kids,
lightweights.
I can't wait till you grow up so I can just instead of you putting a bottle in your mouth, you have a beer with them.
Sure.
No. I can't.
So has that part of motherhood been pretty enjoyable for you?
What, did you want to smack them across the face?
Well, there's always that, but them being older now, having that experience and being
I'm
able
still kicking their ass. Don't get me wrong.
How do they all need the same amount of kicking, or is one?
Yeah. They always ask, "Who's your favorite?" None of you. None of you.
You're all at the bottom.
Yeah. And the grandkids, well, I did take care of the older grandchild, James. He's 8 now. I did take care of him as a baby. And Henry's he's 13 months? He's being taken care of by a nanny. And which is fine with me. And, he's learning Spanish from her.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
And so that's good.
It's funny because I'm 45, and we got some neighbors that have little ones. They're probably, I don't know, maybe 5 and 8, something like that. And then there's some other ones that have some smaller ones. And it's funny because we'll see them running around the street, and the dad's chasing them, or the mom's chasing them. And I look at Nina, I'm like, could you imagine if we were this age trying to chase something that small? They'll come back once I get hit in the street like my dog used to when I was growing up. They'll come back limping. I'm not going to catch them.
No. Dogs, cats. I got 5 cats. I got 2 dogs. 2 dogs outside, 3 cats inside, and 2 outside. And they're all just, except for one I rescued. It was like they knew that I was the cat lady, and they came to my house.
We have 2 dogs, and they're both rescues. The other day,
But speaking of dogs, how's the
Beaumont?
Yeah.
I call him Puss in Boots now because both of his hind legs are wrapped in gauze and he looks like he's wearing boots because they had to cut the other one off, the toenail, and then they had to fix the other one. And so I was going through old photos the other day through Dropbox, and there's a photo from like maybe 6 years ago, and he had done that to his front paw. So I was like, he's been having nail problems since we got him.
Oh, boy.
But his funny story is they're both older now. They can hardly hear. You know, when we got him, I was like, it's nice to have something around the house something around the house to bark or whatever. The other day, I guess there was some dust in the one of the sensors that the house alarm went off. So I got up right away. You want me to open it? I'll get it.
No, I got it.
Get it? So I get up right away. I get my gun, and I start searching. Check the house. Go to the backyard. We call the cops. The cops show up. We search the whole yard, front and back, and they leave, come back inside. I take the round out of the barrel, and the dogs never got up. And I told Nina, what good are they? They don't even wake up for when stuff's going down. They're not even getting up. So at this point...
Did you get him?
At this point, they're more livestock than they are, a defensive animal. So I already know which one I'm going to eat first. I'm going to eat the female first because she's got a little more fat on her. So
I'm not getting up. You get up.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, the fat guy's already up. Let him handle it. Go back to sleep. Tell me something. What is, how old are you now? 20, 30?
Hey, that's none of your business.
Well, I'm doing some math. I'm going to say you're...
69.
69. That's right. We just had your birthday party the other day.
Yeah.
It was funny because nobody knew your name exactly. Even your own sister. Nobody knew your name exactly. Some of the questions, people were getting them right. But tell me something. What is one of the greatest experiences that you've ever lived through in all your years of being in the, growing up in the Valley, having your dad being the chief of police, joining the military, traveling the world, having a family? I'm sure the kids are up there, but what is something that you really enjoyed or a life experience that you really are glad that you had that still you carry with you?
Being a band geek.
A band geek?
Yeah.
That's right. You played...
I played clarinet and French horn. And the clarinet was my older sister's, but she didn't carry it through band because, they bought it for her because she was going to be in band, but she was getting headaches from the sun marching. So it passed down to me. And I wanted to play the drums, damn it. But, we didn't have money, so that much. My dad provided for us as best as good as a cop's salary. And then, of course, he said, well, police chief, they didn't make that much. And so I got the clarinet, hesitantly, but I got the clarinet, and I went through elementary and junior high, and I think 2 years or 3 years, 3 years of high school band with the clarinet, right? But you know what happened to me? If you've ever played a wind instrument, especially a clarinet.
It's a little reed or something, right?
Yeah. Well, I lost the ability, what they call the embouchure, when you put in it's called an embouchure. I lost it. In other words, I couldn't play anymore.
Really?
And I think it had to have been psychological because I didn't want to play this thing and it finally hits. It finally hits in my junior year. And I go, oh my God, what am I going to do? Anyway, so the band director said they didn't want to put me in drums because there were too many drummers already.
Everybody wants to play the drums.
Yeah. So about Okay, give me a French horn. And to go from a wood to a
It's two different movements,
from
isn't
a
it?
wind to a brass, it was two different. But I was able to do it. I mean, I was last chair, but I was able to do it.
So you enjoy playing music?
Yes, and it allowed me to be able to read music, and just even to this day, I want to conduct music.
Is that something that was with you as a little girl? Like, did you, or was it not until you got in the band that you kind of realized how much you enjoyed it?
And not until I got in band that I enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy the clarinet, but I enjoyed the camaraderie, the football games.
You liked hanging out with nerds?
Uniforms, yeah. To this day, I even in the military, I could talk to the nerds because we had nerds that joined the military, and I would talk. We had actual conversations, and we talked about everything.
Yeah.
And I became very good friends.
I love nerds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually one in disguise. Yeah. Like everybody, when you look at me,
if it weren't for your beard, you were from the hillbillies somewhere.
Like when you look at me, like your first thought is macho. Your first thought is ladies' man. Your first thought is
I want to run away from this guy.
High intelligence. Those are all from what I've been told. That's what people see.
Well, I'm sure that's what Nina got attracted to you.
Well, I think it was because I could fish good.
Oh.
Did I ever tell you about the time when I proposed to her? So we used to like going to this fishing pier in Corpus, Indian Point. And so we go get bait. We go fishing all the time. And this is very indicative of how our life has gone so far. But anyway, so I'm from the country. I got to go ask her dad's permission and talk to her mom. So I forgot how I did it, but she sleeps late, so that helped. Got up early, went and talked to Mr. Brown, went and talked to Mama Pita. And, I told them, hey, I'm planning on proposing to Nina. I'd like your permission. And, I was expecting some more pushback, but Mr. Brown was like, shit, yeah, get her, take her out of here. I'm tired of paying for her. And so that I should
have a beer.
He's like, here, you're gonna need to stay drunk for a while. So, I should have seen that and gone, oh man, he's giving her up way too easy. But I didn't think about that. So we ended up going to Indian Point Pier. And so we're sitting there and we're fishing and then I'm like, okay, this is a good time to propose, right? So I reluctantly get on one knee, and so I propose. I have a line in the water. I've got bait in the water. So I propose, and she says yes, and I put the ring on her, and she's crying, and all of a sudden my fishing pole just goes boom. It starts hitting hard, and so I get up extremely quickly. And I grabbed my pole, and she's like, give me a hug. And I'm like, hang on. And so I'm trying, because, the fish started going under the pier. And, I don't want it rubbing the edge of the concrete.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm hanging over, and I'm trying to reel it in. And it's the pole keeps bending over. And she's like, give me a hug. And I'm like, hang on.
True fisherman.
I finally got it. It was a black drum, and it was pretty decent size. I forget how big, but I'm going to say it was like 7 feet long. But it was a big black drum. And so finally I reel it in, and I gave her a hug, and that's kind of how.
And you kissed the fish.
And I kissed the fish. And that's kind of how it's gone ever since. But like I said, this macho-ness is only disguising a nerd. So I did a podcast with my buddy Jared last week, and we just talked about work stuff and technology and things like that. And nerds are cool.
There's one thing that I'll never forget. It's a funny thing. I'm a woman of educated woman. I've been divorced. I've traveled the world. With the army. I was in Germany. and I did go through Germany anyway, visited different parts of Germany. And I joined the Marine Corps, right? And that night at boot camp, I was on the top bunk, and I'm crying, and I'm saying to myself, I was 26, mind you, what the fuck did I get myself into?
And
But-
God went,
Yeah, but then I said, it's just a game, play the game. And so I played the game, and I ended up being a Mali Marine. You know, a Mali Marine is the epitome of what a woman Marine should be. Okay? And, wow. So, and even do anything to the best of your ability, whether you care to do it or not. And before school started with the Marines, they put me in the kitchen and in the scullery where you wash dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, damn it, I'm going to be the best dishwasher there is. And I got an award for being
Really?
the best dishwasher. I said, I'm carrying this thing too far. What else?
But you know what? That attitude
Yeah.
carries you through uncomfortable
Yeah,
things
it
you may
did.
not want to experience.
It did. It did. And I wish people would just understand that. I don't care what you do. Just do it to the best of your ability, and you'll be noticed. You'll be noticed. You'll be noticed.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's what I did.
What
throughout-
did that trophy look like?
Oh, it was just a piece of paper for outstanding work in the mess hall scullery. My God! And the Mali Marine was a treat because I once forgot some kid's lunch, and they tore a new one up
Really?
and down for me because I was in charge of all the lunches.
Oh, gotcha.
And
It wasn't something where you could just hold that certificate up and say, I don't want to hear it.
no, no, man, I gave up my lunch
Yeah.
for them because they said you will
Now,
give up that lunch.
Oh, they made you do it.
And they gave me a yogurt or something. But I got so pissed. You know why I got so pissed at the Marines? Because I was 5 pounds under my limit, and they wanted me to lose 5 more. And so all I ate was yogurt and salad. Is that all you're going to eat?
That would piss me off, too.
Yes, drill sergeant. Yes, drill instructor. I'm sorry, drill instructor. The drill sergeant is Army. If you called them, and I did call them, they yelled at me. I'm not in the Army. So the drill instructor, right? But I got sick, and we were out in the chow hall line waiting to go in, and they told me to step out of line because I was sick. And what happened was I threw up all over her boots. Because I was sick, because they were making me, they wanted me to eat more, but
Yeah.
that's all I ate out of spite. Oh, that's another thing. Don't eat a lot of yogurt and salad. You're going to get stuffed up. Okay, now I remember. Okay, that one, yes, I did do it. Because I was mad.
Well, that showed them.
That showed her. That showed her.
Having a family that came here to escape what was happening in Mexico.
Huh.
Having your dad being a business owner and being chief of police, from your parents to your grandparents, what is a trait you think that you got from them that you can say you're proud that that's a learned trait that you got from their experiences that carried through your life?
Toughness.
Toughness.
Just do it, and just do it.
It's easy to feel sorry for yourself a lot of times, but you gotta stay tough.
Yeah, you can't feel sorry for yourself. Just do it. And just the tenacity and the toughness, and just get through it, and just do it and get through it.
Yeah.
That's it. And don't give up. Don't ever give up. So those are the things that got me through life. It got me through childbirth. And to this day, it's getting me through the cancer. Okay, that is what it's getting me through, as well as my trust in God.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it is.
Was your mom a pretty tough lady?
She was.
She had a lot of kids to raise.
Oh yeah, she did. Unfortunately, she was very young. She was I think already 28, and she had all 8 kids.
Oh wow.
Well, 10 that she miscarried, but all 8 kids at the age of 28. So yeah, it was. People think they have it hard with 2, 3 kids, but 8 kids, boy, and you're just 28. Yeah, and then my dad working all the time, and then, Mexican men, buddies, go out drinking with buddies,
Yeah.
and never realizing, hey, or not having the wherewithal to say.
She needs a break. She needs some help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
That
doesn't
happens
work
a lot.
that way. That happens.
Yeah, it happens a
Even
lot.
to this day, it happens. So that's the way it is. But yeah, I don't. They were good. My dad provided. He always had somebody coming to mow the yard and stuff like that. My brothers, they all played football, and I played football with them. I played sports in the backyard with them, and
Which one of them was in your opinion, which one of them was a better athlete? Who was the best? Eddie was our best athlete. Joe was probably right behind him. And then I'm just gonna throw myself in there. I don't know who was third, but I'm gonna say I was third. But who was your best athlete in the backyard?
They were all pretty good athletes. But I would say for toughness and for the aggressiveness on the field, I would say it was my brother Charlie, because he was a linebacker, and I love linebackers. If I was male, if I had been born a man, I would have played linebacker.
Yeah, it's a good spot. It's a good position.
Because, like I said, I love the toughness and just the aggressiveness that they have to play with to get to that guy with the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't care who gets in the way. Get out of it.
So that was Charlie. He was the linebacker.
Linebacker, yeah. And Lee was a nose guard, I believe, offensive nose and offensive nose guard. Oh, I'm forgetting my baby brother Junior. He was an all Valley, Rio Grande Valley defensive player of the year, because he was very quick. He was
He's tall too. So
defensive.
I'd imagine he was tall back then too.
He was the defensive tackle, and then Homer was. They used him on kickoffs, and he was a receiver.
Okay.
And so they called him the horse, because he galloped, much like my middle son. He runs like a gazelle. He jumps like a gazelle.
Does he put his hands down and?
It's funny. You run like a gazelle, man. And he doesn't run; he jumps.
That's awesome.
So funny. Oh my God, it's funny.
What are something you'd love to tell your when your grandbabies are men, what is some advice you'd like for them to carry with them, whether it's belief in themselves or being strong or how they treat women? What is something you want to tell those guys?
To have respect for women. Not necessarily. I'm not one of those gals, or In fact, I'm not in favor of women in combat. They're in the rear anyway. I mean, in the rear of the theater. I mean, they're in harm's way anyway. Marines, women Marines. Also, that was another thing. We're not called. They said, we're not going to call you women Marines. You're all Marines, right? And everybody learns how to shoot. I got out before they started. The women started going through the actual combat. You put them through this anyway, When they have to defend themselves, they will defend themselves.
Sure.
You don't have to put them in the front line, damn it. So I was never in favor of that. But to respect women, no matter what, they are, women are not men. They're not built like men. They were never intended to be like men. Yeah, you can play sports all you want, but you're not a man. And this crap with these men becoming women only because they can't compete with men, so they become women and they win all these. That's
sure.
No, you don't do that. Why are you doing this? There's plenty of women. I love basketball, and some of these women basketball players, not all of them can compete. There's only one that I know of that could compete with men, but I'd have to see it. But because she's such it's just like natural that she, it's just she's very, very gifted. Okay, and she just
Who is that?
Plays with the Aces. I forgot her name. She's only 5'11", 5'6", but she's won a championship before with the Lakers. Oh my God! See, when you're 69, you forget everything.
Well, I'll have to.
When
Google
you've gone through chemo, the chemo just.
That's what Mama Pete always said. Chemo brain
eats up your brains, And
one thing that I think people tend to forget is you can have this one as well. One thing I think people forget, or I don't know that they forget, but it just gets put on the back burner. There's so much push for women and men to be the exact same. And one thing that I think people forget is men have certain strengths, but so do women, and you can't overlook a woman's set of strengths,
Yeah.
Me and Nina were talking about it the other day, and she's talking about boys and how wild boys are. We have a neighbor, they got a little boy, he's a little wild, and Nina comes from the school district and the mentality of, hey, some of these kids need to be tested, and, everybody's on medication nowadays and whatever. But it's...
speaking of medication, you got any pills on you?
You know what?
I'm messing with you.
I got some in the truck. well, I got somebody down the road. We'll go to Green Cross and get some pills over there. Hey, by the way, if you need some CBD, Green Cross and Brecken, but...
Put a little whiskey in this coffee.
There's plenty over here. Uncle Danny, open that bottle, Uncle Danny. But there's those differences in strengths and stuff. And Nina was telling me that she's like, young boys are just so wild. And, the girls are so, there's a lot of them are well-behaved. And I always tell them, I'm like, look, we tend to forget that we're animals. And we tend to forget that it wasn't that long ago that you were hunting for food. God made us a certain way. He made boys, when they're younger, to be very athletic and really stupid. Because you can't go chase a mammoth. You can't go chase, a bison and have all your wits about you. But you got to be athletic.
What?
But I mean, we from when you were in the military to the things you see nowadays, and not to ask you to go down a crazy path or anything like that, but your grandkids are gonna.
Oh yeah.
10 years from now, 15 years from now, who knows what the world's like? I think that's why I'd like for you to take a couple of minutes and talk directly to them. That way you can give them some life experience that they will have no clue ever existed, because it's like the more time that goes, the less we forget a generation ago or 2 generations ago. What is some advice for them that you want to share?
Get out of my way, I'll kick you. I guess...
Of course, we're treating women well.
Yeah, always
That was one.
respect your elders. Always respect your elders, okay? And your 4th commandment, honor your father and mother. You'll live a long life. I truly believe in that. And just be the best that you can be. And it's not a cliche. Yeah, okay, be the best you can be, or a few good men or all that. But quite literally, do the best in everything you touch, and don't care what people say. You just do it. Do the best your ability that you can do something. Yes, I would like them to if they played any kind of sports, or I would love if they could learn music, or play an instrument. But whatever they do in life, just make sure that you show some mercy and grace toward people, and just do everything you can to be and do the best that you can in everything, no matter what. Don't worry about the next guy or the next, whatever. You're your own person. Don't worry about being like Mike, so to speak, or LeBron. Wah wah. Be you, the person that God intended you to be, because we all have a script. He already knows before we're born. God knows what we're going to do in life, who we're going to marry, what babies are we going to have. He already has all that scripted. But I think one thing, though, that he would like us, all of us that have our scripts already written, to be better than what he wrote. To be better in life than what he wrote for us. Because we all have free will. And that free will allow us to be better than what he wrote for us. And that's what I would tell them. That's what I would tell them.
It's good advice.
And it's helped me, and it's helped my family, and the good Lord's always blessed my family. I always pray for you and Nina, for Uncle Bill, your father-in-law. And if you pray for people, you get the benefits of it as well. Okay?
Well, I appreciate those prayers.
Yep.
Tia Gracie, you got anything else you want to share?
Cowboys going to win. Are they winning?
If they're playing the Bears.
Everybody out there? Anybody?
If they're playing the Bears, I hope they lose. I think they're playing the Bears.
Well, and I've been watching the World Series, the baseball.
Yeah.
Hopefully
They're tied up 2-1-1 right now.
1-1, but they should have won that damn first game.
Yeah, I was pretty upset about that too.
Yeah, and
I got some whiskey on the line right now with one of my neighbors who's from Philadelphia. So
one thing I wanted to say, hey Pop, I don't give a rat's ass what your political advice is, or just please shut up. Just teach those young kids how to play basketball, but shut up about your partisan politics. We don't care.
we'd rather have some playoff wins.
Really. Really.
You know, I'm hoping. I'm sure all my liberal friends will hate it, but I'm hoping we win by a lot on the red side of things.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, yesterday I couldn't have been more excited to vote against Robert Francis O'Rourke. That was,
But, he says it's Beto, but I call him Bato.
well, it's funny because he's Beto with an E. So
No, hombre, he's Bato. He was walking down the street and somebody said, "Hey, Bato." Hey, that's a good name to get, Beto.
I was going through and I was voting, and then when I got to the governor, I hit Abbott like 6 or 7 times. So we'll see what happens.
You can't do that.
Hopefully things go in a better direction. Because I'll be honest with you,
Yeah,
things
but
got
if
wild.
they do something, though, because it's happened before.
That's what I tell people. I tell people that all the time.
Good
Realistically,
for the American people and not for themselves to get. You know what gets me? This Pelosi thing with her husband.
oh yes.
Wait a minute. Are they that cheap they can't afford security?
You know what? What it's coming across as, there's more to it now. Yeah, it's a little strange.
It's weird.
And apparently he's made a lot of money in investments.
Oh, yeah, they do. They do. Those people are filthy rich.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've heard all kinds of stories. I always tell everybody, when something happens, give it 3 weeks. Because everything you're going to hear right now is everybody trying to get information out as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And then the truth comes out 3 weeks later. But by that time, everybody has their talking points. Everybody's already influenced people's thoughts. And when the truth finally comes out, nobody talks about that anymore. Because we already talked about the juiciness, right? We already got everybody on sides now. But I always tell people, when you're going to go vote this year, vote Republican. But when you're going to go vote, you still have to, even if your side wins, you got to hold them accountable. When you think about it, what was it? Before Donald Trump, you had the Republicans said, "Hey, we need the House, we need the Senate." Okay, here's the House. Oh, we can't do anything. We need the Senate. Okay, here's the House and Senate. We can't do anything. We need the presidency. Okay, here's 2 years of Trump with the House, Senate, and presidency, and they still did nothing. Who was it? Paul Ryan or whatever? Did nothing. So you got to hold them accountable. Vote for how you want to vote, and when you win, hold their ass accountable. Because if not, it's the same thing.
Yeah, but I don't adhere to any political party. I am for the American people. That first of all, I pray that people stop killing their babies.
Yeah. I agree.
Because it's murder. I don't care what it is. And I used to be a liberal. I used to be a partisan liberal. Even though we grew up in a conservative, and that's one thing, that always, that
what made
the
you change?
Mexican American people are conservative.
By nature, aren't they?
Yes. But yet, I think since Kennedy, they started voting, because they liked Kennedy, he was Catholic. They started voting
he had a hot
for
girlfriend
the
too.
Democrat. Right?
Yeah.
And so, and that's why the Valley, I pray to God that we get closer and closer all the time, because my dad would tell me, never vote Republican. They're for the rich. The same old garbage that everybody says,
Well,
right?
they're all rich right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Both sides.
Yeah, they both make money. You know, unless you give your money away, unless you're a millionaire, billionaire, you don't need that money.
Yeah.
You know, and so it wasn't until the Obama administrative. Yes, I suppose I'm racist because you don't vote for Obama. You know, I was told that. Oh, you know, you're racist. Hey, wait a minute. You know, how can I be a racist? Oh, because you vote with the Republicans. So you're a racist, right? Okay, call me a racist. I don't give a, you know, all right. And since then, because I was a
I remember you being liberal.
Hillary supporter,
So
right?
what made you go
Don't
from one to the
hate
other?
me. Don't hate. Okay. And so
What made you swap? What made you go from one side to the other?
Because I was a delegate to the county and a delegate to the state, and I saw the hypocrisy. I go, oh my God, I'm being played here. We're all being played. So I just walked out of the convention. I didn't. This is ridiculous. And so since then, I've been voting the Republican with the Republicans because and it fits because as you get older too, you become more aware. You become you have children, you know. You just can't think about killing your babies, your daughter playing against boys. I mean, in respect to boys that become women, you can't become a woman. You don't want them. You don't want them playing against men.
Sure.
It's like, no, this is not right. I don't believe in this anymore. And ever since, and there was a story out of Philadelphia about a Dr. Gosnell.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, Kermit Gosnell.
Oh my God! And I saw where he had babies in trash cans, where he had babies in jars, where they found babies out, and it was.
I want to say I had even heard that he had let some of the administrative people do some of the procedures at one point. He was doing so many.
Yeah, and
It's
the
crazy.
state wouldn't even inspect him because he, under the table
Sure.
or had money under the table or somehow it was getting through with no inspections.
Yeah.
And I said, oh my God, these are babies, these are babies, these are babies. No. And then, of course, the fact that, ever since then, though, I've learned a great deal more about my Catholic faith. As far as abortion and I'm not even for the death penalty if it's taking a life because they took my life. But if they took somebody else's life, it's up to them. If those families, it's up to them. But to take my life for a life, no, I don't want that. But and it's ridiculous. But it's what the hell was I talking about? See what happens?
It's like chemo brain kicking in.
Oh my God!
One thing that I'm looking forward to is I think a lot of people are starting to, we always have this run where things swing one way completely and it gets very cartoonish and people go, oh, okay, we're not doing that anymore. Let's swing it back this other way.
Yeah.
But
I pray to God.
But it always stays a little bit too far down that path.
This is the farthest out there that I've ever seen in my lifetime. You know?
And that's one thing that I get concerned with, like for the kids, the future of the kids. And I even told my nephew one day, I said, I'm 45, I'm getting to the point where I start looking at things and go, what do I need all this stuff for? What do I need blah, blah, blah for? So I tell him, well, this country's yours, and what kind of country you want to live in, that's going to be determined by what happens to it now.
Yeah.
That's what you're going to live in depending on what happens now. So what's interesting is I really like seeing, I was telling Nina the other day, I really like seeing a lot of these younger conservative folks. There's women. Mm-hmm. There's Myra Flores out of the Valley.
And she's actually from San Benito area.
But she's originally from Mexico, isn't she?
Yeah, well, the family, yes. Mm-hmm. But she came as a little girl from Mexico. But they're from the San Benito area.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's nice seeing women like that, and even just some younger ex-military conservative folks kind of picking it up. There's a bunch of them. And so that's kind of nice to see that because, it got to the point where, everybody always said, when you vote Republican, you're voting for the old rich white man. And it's like you got the oldest rich white man in the office right now.
Senile, too. Senile at that. I thought I was bad with my chemo brain, but this guy.
But, I think when people start getting to the point where they stop letting themselves get put into a box and start thinking for themselves again, I think that'll really help people see things more clearly. Because when you put yourself in a box, I always tell people, when you put yourself in a box, the only thing you can be is what's inside that box. So don't do that to yourself.
Man, that's awful. That's awful. I don't want to ever go back that way. No.
I was telling Nina a while back, Mama Pita was wild. And she was very, very, very liberal. And, a couple years ago with all the rioting and the cities burning, and I would tell Nina, I was like, you know what? I said, I wish Mama Pita was here. I said, because if she was, Mr. Brown would have to be downtown getting her out of jail. She'd be down there throwing rocks through windows.
Yeah. In fact, I went with her to one of the
DNC or something, didn't she?
She said, "Puede."
Oh.
She said, "Pedo." What's his face?
She went to it.
Yeah, I was with her.
Yeah.
I even dragged the kids along. Oh, God forgive me.
That's something else to have to pray for. She was what's funny is she was very, I think she'd gone to DNC, and I took a picture.
She did. She went to the...
Was it in Denver or something?
Yes. She wasn't a delegate, but she went as a volunteer.
Mm-hmm. So she was always involved, Yeah. And so that's one thing about her is she had her political views, and it didn't matter because outside of that, she got along with everybody.
Although she did tell me, though, that I did was persuasive enough to change her mind about abortion. Mm. Because it was just, because of how awful it is, and because of what I told her about the Gosnell and what they found, and she loved children, so
yeah, she did.
It was that she did not, she couldn't go along with.
Yeah. There everybody has their opinions on abortion, and I have this weird I'm in this weird place where it depends on how hard I think about it, right? If you give me hey, you get a yes or no response, pick one. I'm gonna say no, don't have an abortion. If they're gonna say let's talk politically, well, then I'm going to say, well, I really don't like the government telling me what to do with other things. They probably shouldn't tell me what to do in this case either. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to when I think about it, and granted, I haven't put a whole lot of thought about it. I don't, I have my thoughts and then I move on. Yeah. But, I was doing some research the other day, and I think like incest and rape was like 1% of abortion. So a lot of it gets used as birth control. But to me, it's like, if I have to pick yes or no, I'm gonna say don't do it. And the reason I say it is, and I get there's a lot of kids that are still in wards of the state. There's all these problems that we have. It's not like all the kids are taken care of now and we can move on to something else. I get all that. But to me, I just kind of look at it simply, right? If you allow this kid to live, you're giving somebody an opportunity to become somebody. Mm-hmm. You're giving that kid an opportunity to fall in love one day, to make somebody laugh, to make somebody smile, to have a simple moment where he connects or she connects with somebody. By letting a kid live, you're giving that an opportunity to happen. You're giving it an opportunity to happen and maybe fall in love one day and make children of their own. If you're on the fence with choosing, I would choose that way. I really think that if you looked at it simply like that, that's the way to go. Again, you got some shitty parents out there. You got families with a whole lot of kids that can't take care of. And I get that it's more complex than that. But if you're on the fence, if you looked at it through that lens, and you looked at it as just giving somebody, your child, an opportunity to live, that's one thing that I found interesting was when you kind of look at, the election coming up, right? Was it next week? Another week or two? Or
the
8th. There's so many people that want to vote for Robert Francis, Robert Francis on just the abortion issue. And it's like you rather put a terrible candidate in because of that one issue. To me, that's kind of, I'm not a fan of that. There's a lot of people like that. And there's a lot of people that listen to this go, F you, fat ass. But, my sister tells me that, so you're not going to hurt my feelings. But you have to look at everything in its totality, and to be able to say, hey, we want to put this candidate in for this reason, and abortion's my only issue. I think when people can sit in a room and it's a highly charged subject, right? People get really fired up and they really want to argue about it. And it's like, if you can just chill out and have a conversation and really put some thought into it. I heard a guy saying the other day, and they were talking about something. And granted, people say, well, of course it was a guy saying it. But at the same time, it was like, your choice needs to happen before you have sex with, this guy. That's where your choice should take place. Having a child is, especially at the point where we're at, where we didn't have kids. I wish we had. But at the same time, that shouldn't sway somebody's choice. Right. To me, the choice is giving somebody an opportunity to become a person, to have a relationship, and to be part of what you've experienced. So, I don't know. That's just
well, remember when I said that God has a script already written for all of us? Well, He also has made us in His image. If you want to kill God, then you'll have to suffer the consequences in terms of meeting your Maker one day, and you'll go through your whole life like a picture show. And He'll probably ask, remember when you killed your child? When you murdered me? But I was following Nancy Pelosi. But I was following what I felt was right. No, that's not going to make it. It's still a human being. It still, like you said, deserves to live a life. And parents, people who would love to be parents, but for some reason cannot. You can adopt. Planned Parenthood does not give you the option to abort or to keep the child. It just abort. There are clinics out there that will offer a woman health care, pregnancy care, options. Planned Parenthood will say, we also give them mammograms, or we also give them check for diseases and stuff. So do clinics, free clinics. So it doesn't fly anymore. And besides that, money, federal money, we don't want it to go. It used to. I don't know. Maybe it still is being given to Planned Parenthood or, abortion clinics. I don't want my money to be killing babies. That's technically what it's doing.
Sure.
No, I'm no. So I always
I'd
keep
rather
that
go
in
to
mind.
something else too. Yeah.
Keep that. But we'll be judged at the end, no matter what.
I like what you said when you're talking about our lives being scripted. And when I think a lot of times we carry a lot of stress for the way our life is going. Mm-hmm. And I think if we can kind of look at it through that perspective, through that prism, that God's in charge and things are scripted.
Yeah.
I think we can enjoy our life a lot better.
Yeah.
Because we've got some direction that from God that's kind of helping us lead through our life. And I think when we can accept that, we can enjoy it a lot better. Yeah. Instead of stressing so much. Yeah. It's a lot of stress in life.
And there is. But you can get through it. You can get through anything, really, if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Well, Tia, gone almost about 2 hours.
Really? Mm-hmm. What do I get?
You get a whole bunch of whiskey. Uncle Danny's saying wrap it up.
I don't.
Tia, thank you so much. I've appreciated this. And you got an open ticket on my podcast anytime you want to be on.
But next time I demand money.
Well, we'll taper up and holler out. Danny's already got the duct tape.
Mijo. God bless you. God bless
you,
everybody that will have the courage to listen.
Thank you so much, Tia. Love you.
I love you too. God bless.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks everybody for listening.
Thanks for listening to the Gabe Molina Podcast.